if you really want to ruin your life, I've got one tip for you. Start a business with no plan of what you're doing or no mental preparation and no help from anybody else. Because starting our own thing in life and moving away from employment and going out on your own, it will expose you. Like your every extreme will be displayed to the world. If you're someone who already is very easily angered, you are going to constantly be triggered. You're walking around like a walking trigger. If you are someone who is anxious, you'll be crippled by that anxiety. And if you are someone who is depressed, you're going to get worse. Just like you shouldn't attempt to have a relationship with another person until you understand who you are first. Likewise, a business is not something you should get into simply because you're sick of where your life's at right now. Though that is a good point to start planning a business from. But there are three things that I know in my journey that I wish I'd spent more time doing before I went in on my own businesses. And I have absolutely no doubt whatsoever that if I had spent this time up front, I would have been in a much, much better position by now and not have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars along the way. And the best part of 10 years scratching around trying to make things work that were never going to work, right? So that first thing is I should have, I should have done this before going into business. And this was to work out what the hell was wrong with me. I'm not being harsh here, but I really should have worked that out. I don't think I ever met a more entrepreneurial kid in my life than me. Like I was always trying to make money in weird ways, buying up all the apple pies at the school tuck shop in the morning. And yes, the ladies in the tuck shop let me do it. And then selling them at a markup at recess time and lending cash out to other students as long as they paid back with interest, selling advertising in non-approved school student newsletters and gossip sheets that I was printing out on a dot matrix printer from a Commodore 64. I kind of this like early lady whistle down of not of Bridgerton, but of my local high school. It didn't matter what it was. I was always on the hustle. Even when I was working full time after uni, I was constantly doing stuff on the side to make money. Baking cupcakes, writing assignments for students, tutoring, doing deliveries for people that were delivering things that I'm sure were not legal. But that wasn't really what was wrong with me. There was something else. I had this repeating cycle, right, in my life where I'd start something and it would be absolutely amazing. It'd be awesome. And then after a while, I'd ruin it. It was like this with every business adventure I ever started, any job I ever got, any relationship I ever entered into, and any major life plans I was going to try and start up. Just everything I would start, I would excel at first, and then I would just annihilate it at some point. It caused heartbreak to people who loved me and frustration to those who believed in me and betrayal, I guess, to those who had a level of trust with me. And while the worst of this faded as I got older, it wasn't because I actually dealt with any of it. I just segregated that cycle away from, my work. My work was over here, my life was over here. And this is why I managed to do, 13 and a half years in one company, or actually probably a little bit more, that I, constantly moved from state to state and job to job with that particular company. It wasn't until I was, probably 47 years old, really, that I finally worked out through a diagnosis via medical professionals, real people with real instrumentation and questionnaires and stuff, that I was ADHD like that word, yeah, and a little on the autism spectrum as well. Like, I know it sounds like I'm just hopping on a Gen Z neurodiversity bandwagon here, but you have to know what learning this has done for me. Like it's set me free. It explains so much, like the constant code switching from extrovert to introvert, hyper focus to wildly unfocused, motivation to loss of all motivation, and perhaps probably most tellingly and most damaging was from love of a lifetime to I can't stand the sight of your face anymore. It hurt people, So I cannot highlight just how important working out what the hell was wrong with me has been. It's like my life has restarted with all the information I needed to do something significant with that life. And in just 2 years, I've gone from this wandering aimlessly all over the place through life to having a clear vision, a clear mission, a clear set of values, and a really solid direction in my life. Now, seriously, work out what the hell is wrong with you in life, because you just cannot move on to great things until you work that stuff out. Before you try to start any major project in your life, work out what's wrong with you, whether it's a business, a mature age studies or new relationship, you got to get in first, and you'll never regret having done that work. Trust me, you'll never regret it. So the second thing that I wish I'd known, I guess, and acted upon before starting a business was that there is no balance and no success without some level of physical activity to match your mental activity. And I'm convinced that a large contributing factor to the need for people to have me time and downtime and digital detox time and unplug time is that they have such sedentary lives. You know, those who I've worked with who have a good level of physical activity in their lives, they have energy to burn almost every single day. They have high levels of motivation, they have drive, they have incredible capacity to learn and try and create and work and experiment, and they don't seem to constantly need to have bubble baths and go to massage spas to recharge their work batteries because they already get charged up from the exercise. You know, whether it's walking or running or gym or organized sport or whatever you really think. You know, in fact, I would say that for the most sedentary amongst us, and that was me too, like only a year ago, it's amazing what a daily walk of as little as 15 minutes can do for you. And 30 minutes, that stuff will change your life. Now, I'm up at 5 a.m. almost daily to hit the gym. It frames my day, it energizes me, gives me the physical push I need to handle a lot of busy brain work during the day and a lot of people interaction as well. I don't want to claim that physical exercise, though, is 100% responsible for all this, but since I started working out on January 9, 2023, my personal income has increased by over 60%. My company has expanded by 2.5 times its size this time last year, and my online impact, it's been exponentially increased. Now, of course, this isn't all roses. I messed up some stuff too along the way, but the pure number correlation supports that my life and my business are both better since I started working out. Like I said, it's not 100% responsible. There were other factors, but most of those factors were due to me making better decisions, thinking more clearly, thinking more strategically and more practically. And all that comes from the fact that maybe I just woke early, did some physical work, and those better decisions happened. Just start walking every day. It will transform your life. Now, this third thing, and I really wish I'd sorted this out in my life before starting a business, was my people-pleasing ways. You know, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I like attention, right? And I also hate attention. I have no fear of speaking and presenting in front of people at all, yet I have a drive in me since I was a child to draw the kind of attention to myself that I tire of really quickly. It runs my batteries down so quick, and it leads me to need frequent solitude very soon after it. The trouble is that I allow that social battery to be overused again and again and again because I want to help people. And well, that's actually not completely true, right? I also know that a fair amount of the reason why I help people is that I want to be liked by people, right? It was only back in 2020 that I grasped this about myself. Literally weeks before the country shut down for the pandemic, I learned a major truth about myself, and it took a highly experienced personal development coach at the time to drag it out of me, kicking and screaming. And I know why I developed this toxic people-pleasing personality. I know it was from my childhood. I won't go into it here as it's not the appropriate forum for it, but it's safe to say that that's the root of a lot of the people-pleasing in our world today that we experience as adults. Now, trauma does some real screwed up work on us at all ages, but it's not the trauma so much as it is working out what to do with now you're a grown-up. You know, you can't just live in that trauma. You've got to do something with it. And this is another one of those things I got to know about myself in 2020, I guess, but that in 2024 that I finally began to start working effectively with it. It's maybe the worst personality trait to take into a business at all, because you'll want things to look perfect when they're falling apart, and you'll want to get the sale across the line even though you'll make a loss on it, and you'll want to give everyone a discount, everybody, and you'll double and triple and quadruple book yourself again and again and again and again just because you want to help everyone at the expense of yourself, just so they'll like you. It's an addiction, you know, like coffee or cigarettes or pretty much anything bad for people that we tend to like too much. Saying no might not make you a lot of friends, but it does make you a business owner and an adult, right? Because you might have noticed that people have a way of taking advantage of those who are willing to give away too much. And while you have limited resources to give away to people, oh my God, people have an endless appetite for being given things for nothing. So while I wish I had these things in my head I really do. I wish I had them in my head much, much earlier in life. But the reality is I never would have listened to that advice anyway, because, I'm one of those guys who has to learn everything for myself, right? I can just imagine how frustrating this has been for everybody in my life, for all my life. But for those of you who are not stupid like I am, then I'm hoping that maybe out of those three things, there might be something in there that helps you.